Prompt as a word actually became very popular after, again, the development of different language models. And if we dive into the prompt engineering, this is the skillful crafting of input texts. Prompt means input text to effectively communicate with AI systems like chatbots or text-generating models. And it involves carefully designing the prompt to elicit the most accurate, relevant, and helpful response from the AI. So the skill is essential because the quality of the AI's output is often directly related to the clarity and specificity of the input it receives. It is not different than actually talking to a human. And since humans are developing this technology, human-computer interaction is important, and prompts are maybe we can say, the communication interface that we use. So in order to get a better result from it, you need to start by defining the context, because context matters. And then you can ask it different tasks and give it different instructions. So it knows its task, and it knows how to approach this problem, how to approach this task by following the specific instructions provided to it. And the clarification is the last step. Whenever I am conducting a science workshop with children, most of the time before actually letting them play, I ask, do you understand? Just to see what they understood, like from the given context, task, and instructions. So ChatGPT, if you use this, do you understand clarification sentence, before it gives you an answer, it will tell you what kind of instructions it will follow, and at the end, what it will bring as output. So in the first part of our training, we have talked a lot, but now I will jump into some examples by sharing my chat with ChatGPT while preparing this training. And before that, I will just check whether there is any question. Can ChatGPT make suggestions on how a paragraph written by a child could be improved? It can, and I can show you one example maybe. So let's open this ChatGPT screen, and so as I said, I analyzed the survey. So the first use case I mentioned was about actually analyzing the survey. And as you can see, it's very simple. I told it that I sent a survey to more than 400 teachers about an AI CPT. I will give you their responses to questions I sent, and we will work together on this data. Do you understand? And it responded as, absolutely, I understand. Feel free to share the responses from the teachers regarding the AI Continuous Professional Development Survey, and I will do my best to assist you with the data. So I actually divided data into two, because ChatGPT has a character limit. So if the data that you are providing is more than this character limit, make sure that you divide this into two. And as you can see, the answers, some of them are in English, some of them are in Turkish, some of them are in Spanish, and I didn't even translate them into English, right? So I fed two batches, and it automatically brought its response. And it said, to effectively use this list, you might consider the following steps: identifying the key themes, prioritize needs, develop training modules for each respondent, research of AI tools, practical applications, safety and ethics, feedback and iteration, and continuous support. And I asked to bring the top 5, and then I actually formed my agenda accordingly. So another use case I showed here, it was related to how can I explain generative pre-trained transformer to teachers. So I asked ChatGPT to actually help me introducing itself to teachers, and it brought step-by-step guidance. So, and it said, like, breaking down the concept into more familiar terms and using analogies that resonate with educational contexts. It's important. Like, and I know we are using this in a daily basis while introducing new concepts to children, because in order to make learning more effective, you need to connect new knowledge with the one that is available to them in their daily life or in their previous knowledge. So another use case is this. So it is pretty good at creating analogies in a relatable way. For example, let's ask it to give an analogy that might be understood by a 10-year-old, right? Thank you for breaking down. Now, can you, I always like to use please, can you please explain it in a simpler way for a 10-year-old? Oh, sorry. So it doesn't matter, like you can make mistakes while actually writing, and it can understand what you mean. So now it actually simplified and maybe storified each of the term. And it said that, like, imagine you have a really smart robot that loves to read. This robot has read so many books, websites, and all sorts of things written by people all over the world. And after reading so much, it has become super good at writing its own stories, answering questions, and even making jokes. And from this narrative, it explains generative, pre-trained, and transformer in a way that 10-year-olds understand. If you think this is still complex, you can continue to make it simpler by giving it more prompts, right? So I showed some use cases around image creation, and you have seen the photos. With the Dolly integration of ChatGPT, it even became easier to create images. What I wanted was a watercolor representation of generative, pre-trained transformer as a child, right? And I didn't ask anything else. And it wrote me this, right? And when you open the image, you can click in information button here, and you can see the prompt it created. So an imaginative watercolor painting of a child, personifying the concept of a GPT, and the child is surrounded by swirling patterns of binary code and abstract shapes representing data and neural networks. So as you can see, in order to create the image, first, it created the prompt, and it didn't only create one prompt, but two, right? So it gave me an option. And as I continue, I added another detail. I wanted child to be in solar punk attire, but this time the essence was lost. Like, this was more closer to what I want. And in here, it focused on the child itself, because I was emphasizing that a child, I was emphasizing a child with solar punk attire. So it might mix the importance of different parts, right? So in order to create better versions, you need to experiment a bit. And you can see, as I try different things, it creates different images. And I wanted to actually form that ChatGPT and other GenAI tools are new and should be used carefully, especially in education. The training data might not be inclusive enough because the tool was not developed in an inclusive way. So maybe I can jump to this one and we can create some articles together, right? So in just a second, I will share another thing here. Yes, perfect. So you can remember this prompt formula, and I wrote the same formula to here. And I told it that you're an experienced content writer in tech industry. You will write the content for this purposes. Your style is informative, friendly, engaging. And I want you to give me some ideas around this, right? So what kind of, which topic would you like it to write an agenda? I will be looking at the chats and waiting for topic suggestions. If we can have one interesting one, we can focus on writing an article about it. And at the same time, just let me give host admission to Batuhan. Batuhan, that would be great if you can answer some of the questions coming from the Q&A. And I will be waiting for any suggestions from chat. Okay, so nothing came up. I will continue with the topic I will choose. So let's say the impact of ChatGPT in education. And it brings an article, The Classroom of the Future, the impact of ChatGPT on education. And in the introduction, so it created the agenda for this actually article, and it suggests me to use personalized learning, right? And into two categories. Subsection A, it's a tailored tutoring tool. Subsection B, the accessibility, the availability of ChatGPT. And in section 2, how it can break down language barriers, right? So most of the time in the internet, I find resources available in English. And in order to fill the knowledge gap and make it available for underdeveloped countries, underdeveloped countries, you need to localize the content, you need to translate the content. And it continues to bring suggestions around its capabilities. So this article writing prompt, as you can see here, is a nice example to start with, but let's make it more relatable to our our expertise. So instead of the previous one, now I revise the prompt as: you are an experienced teacher with high levels of expertise and authority within education, skill-based learning, and storytelling. And your task is to develop lesson plans that will be used by your fellow teachers in a classroom setting. And your style is interactive, friendly, fun, and engaging, while incorporating humor and real-life examples that are relatable to children. And I will provide you with a topic or series of topics, and you will come up with an engaging lesson plan for this topic. Make sure you include easy hands-on activities, role plays wherever necessary. Do you understand? So in order to clarify our communication, it responded me, and I see it understands. Really nice. And now we can use any topic here, right? So I will try a couple of different topics together with you. And from the chat, I will be looking for any suggestions that might appear. But going back to the survey data, I see like around 40% of the participants are from science and math subjects, right? So let's start with the science subject, right? I'm very curious about, biodiversity. Let's say biodiversity. And then wait for it to bring the lesson plan, right? It's a rich topic with many engaging entry points for students of various ages. Okay. The wonders of biodiversity. So I didn't specifically ask for grade, right? But it linked it to the 4th or 5th grades, because I believe biodiversity is most of the time being covered in the grade 4 and 5 science topics, right? And the learning objectives, it lists the learning objectives in 4 different pillars here. To define biodiversity, to understand the importance of it in ecosystems, and students should be able to give examples about it in different habitats, and they should be able to demonstrate ways they can help protect biodiversity. But don't forget, the scientific information should be edited by you, right? Some of the information might be biased, might be misleading. So in order to make sure that this is accurate, it is important for you to read it through. And it starts with introduction. It says, start with a storytelling session about a day in the life of a rainforest, describing the variety of life forms that exist and interact. Another interactive discussion for 10 minutes. And says, hand out biodiversity bingo cards, call out different species from the bingo cards, and have students mark them if they have them. Like, as you can see, it brought the agenda, but it didn't give me more information in detail. So I need to work on it more. Maybe I need to ask it to prepare 10 biodiversity bingo cards. So let's ask it, right? Create 10 biodiversity bingo cards. And let's see what it will bring. Oh, it started creating images, right? so that you can maybe copy and paste and print it out and give it to the students to cover this lesson. And another hands-on activity is suggested, creating your own creature using craft materials, right? Paper, pen, and art experiment. And so here is the biodiversity bingo cards. As you can see, again, the text might be problematic, and the text might not match with the card itself. So you need to actually revise it a bit. So, and another feature is about assessment. So let's think about it this, like we have covered this lesson and we want to assess at the end, right? So, and we are curious about how to do that. I want to create Q&As to assess the lesson. So all the Q&As are being prepared, and if you don't like the question, you can again talk to it and ask it to bring better ones, right? So let's check the Q&As. Mark Potter asks that, like, I find this topic extremely exciting and worrying in equal measure. Is there any aspect of this developing technology that worries you? So of course, like, it worries me. So that's why I believe that we need to build impact partnerships and develop a GPT specifically tailored for educational purposes. And right now, as Steven, we started working on this, and we can actually develop one with the help of teachers all around the world. Rachel asked that can ChatGPT create a lesson plan, a lesson presentation activity sheets to teach 9-year-old children about machine learning. Rachel, that's a great question. I believe you can go to ChatGPT and ask the same question and check the result. But we have worked on this and created lesson plans around machine learning, and I will be showing them in a second. So let's now jump to the presentation again. So we have like discovered different use cases, right? We have covered writing articles with ChatGPT. We have looked at the lesson plan generator. Curriculum mapping capabilities, right? So this is another task that you spend too much time on it, right? And so if we accept this, let's say the learning objectives were listed about biodiversity here, right? So let's say I will use this lesson plan in the classroom. Could you map it to UK curriculum for me? So let's see. In the UK, the lesson on biodiversity can align with various elements of national curriculum. KS2, Science Year 4 and Year 5, in the living things and their habitats. And what it does basically, it connects this, it maps these learning objectives of this lesson plan with the curriculum standards, right? And not only related to science, it can be mapped to geography, from the locational knowledge and human and physical geography. So curriculum mapping is another actually feature that you can use, which can save you time while preparing for the